Blake Lively is in her self-described happy place.
Nice try, Reynolds. You have your own quotes. Shut up. Good call. Anyway.
Ryan Reynolds just dropped a bombshell in the ongoing Justin Baldoni lawsuit, and honestly, I saw this coming. Any husband who fully trusts his wife would stick by her side no matter what, but that's not what's happening here.
It feels like
Reynolds must have confused the rules of pleading with the rules of evidence.
Instead, Ryan's making moves to avoid the chaos at all costs, which is both unexpected and yet totally predictable for a picture-perfect husband and father.
This is the latest filing. This is in response to Ryan's very petty and sassy response that it felt like he clearly wrote, since it had pop culture references, which Kim and I noticed. Burn book mentions. Like, come on, Ryan. That's clearly.
You know, when Mean Girls comes into the filing, it's legit.
Ryan Reynolds has been strangely quiet about Blake Lively's lawsuit. Too quiet. And in Hollywood, silence is never just silence, it's strategy. The man who built an empire on humor and smart deals doesn't just step aside for no reason. Which means something is definitely brewing behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think we've noticed over the past couple of weeks even, there have been a few clips that have come out of the woodwork, essentially, about Ryan that sleuths have found with some kind of problematic moments. And then there's also been the whole kid pool controversy, which definitely doesn't make him look great either.
And let's be real here, getting tied up in a lawsuit hinting at invisible smear campaigns is not the best look for someone whose entire image is rooted in wit, reliability, and sharp business sense.
Now here Friedman is quoted in TMZ. Let's look at what he said. Mr. Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues, this time arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case despite his publicly documented involvement extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse.
Rumor has it Ryan might be lawyering up, not for Blake's benefit, but to protect himself.
And he can claim jokes or whatever, but to pull random quotes of Justin talking about his teenage years and his growth and maturity and to try to use against him to label him a predator, which none of the quotes did. I actually applaud them for, even though they're not supposed to do it, for making the point to be like, nice try, Reynolds. You have your own quotes.
The word on the street says Ryan has filed a motion to dismiss any link he has to this lawsuit, and he's bringing out receipts to back it up. By receipts, I mean old Justin Baldoni clips. Yep.
And this is around the same time that he's making quotes that we have here saying that he's too big to fail at this point. And he just crushes his enemies and drinks their blood. Not a good look, is it, Kim?
Ryan's team is allegedly digging through archives, gathering anything that weakens Justin's claims.
Reynolds must have confused the rules of pleading with the rules of evidence, which I've definitely seen some discussion online of people saying that's a little sassy. That is a little sassy.
'Cause in Hollywood, nothing ever disappears, especially not video footage.
Failed to set forth any basis for his liability, that they were merely acted as a supportive spouse. No, he was not just a supportive spouse. The FAC specifically alleges ample facts to support the Wayfarer's claims against Ryan based on both his direct actions and his liability as a co-conspirator.
Reports say his legal squad is already brainstorming ways to keep this mess far away from his business ventures. When billion-dollar companies are at stake, priority number one is always self-preservation. If Ryan has to walk away before this lawsuit becomes a full-blown scandal, you'd better believe he will.
This is something they reiterate a lot. We disagree, here's why, but worst case scenario, if we lose, we are allowed legally to go make an amendment, and we should at least be doing that.
The real question is Ryan already formulating an exit strategy? Because history shows that whenever a high-profile couple hits a major PR crisis, one of them often escapes unscathed while the other takes the fall. And Ryan? He's definitely playing the long game.
Ryan Reynolds realizes he's too big to fail. He just crushes his enemies and drinks their blood.
Ryan Reynolds isn't just Deadpool. He's a businessman, an investor, practically a living stock portfolio.
The lawyers call out Reynolds' claim that the FAC failed to identify defamatory statements and says that the argument falls on its face. Which we
fails
have here.
on its face.
Sorry, fails on its fails.
Reynolds must have confused the rules of pleading with the rules of evidence.
Aviation Gin, Mint Mobile, Wrexham FC, Maximum Effort Productions.
I have not seen a case so open and shut in my life, and the more that I read and the more details that I get into, I'm just shocked at how many lies were told, okay? This is about that narrative that I think they instantly started spinning. I believe that they are going to be able to prove in court.
Everything he touches turns into a high-value brand. That's not by chance. Ryan spent years shaping the persona of the ultimate Hollywood entrepreneur.
So the PR machine and the fake media are once again on their BS, trying to revive Blake Lively's image. And we've got to talk about it.
Brands trust him, fans adore him, and investors consider him a safe bet. But here's the catch. Blake's lawsuit is a PR train wreck, and that doesn't mix well with billion-dollar deals. The last thing Ryan wants is for business partners to question their ties to him because of his wife's legal drama.
Blake Lively surprises fans. What fans?
And that's exactly what's happening. Insiders say Ryan is privately livid about how this lawsuit is affecting his image. He's built a career and a business empire on brilliant, calculated steps. Now, thanks to Blake's questionable PR moves, he's getting dragged into something he never asked for. Worst case scenario? This lawsuit spirals, companies might start backing away.
Blake Lively shocks fans by working at a donut shop amid Justin Baldoni lawsuit.
Hollywood has plenty of cautionary tales of people who lost everything over bad publicity, and Ryan is too savvy to be next. That's why many believe he's already distancing himself. You see fewer public appearances with Blake, and more spotlight on Wrexham, Aviation Gin, and Deadpool 3. If you look closely, the shift has begun. Speaking of bad PR stunts, let's address the ridiculous donut shop fiasco. Blake Lively, a millionaire actress and entrepreneur, just happens to be casually working at a bakery in Connecticut, sure. The headlines went crazy. Blake Lively shocks fans by working at a donut shop. Blake Lively surprises customers with bakery shift. But here's the truth. This wasn't some spontaneous, wholesome moment. It was a calculated PR move, complete with her sister conveniently filming every second. Because nothing screams, "I'm just like you," more than a staged photo op while pretending to bake pastries. And can we talk about basic hygiene? No gloves, no hairnet, just Blake leaning over the pastries with her hair all over the place. This is the same woman who launched a hair care line, telling everyone how to manage their hair, yet here she is, casually shedding strands into people's donuts. Make it make sense. If her goal was to appear relatable, it crashed and burned. Rather than coming across like a grounded celeb, she looked like someone frantically trying to spin the story while handing out a sprinkle of Lively DNA with every donut. But the biggest eyebrow raiser? The lawsuit itself. Blake insists she's been targeted by an undetectable smear campaign. Undetectable. Let that sink in. Something is undetectable, how do you even know it's there? Because logically, if there's zero proof, doesn't that suggest it might not be happening? Instead of admitting she lacks evidence, Blake's team dug in their heels, slinging buzzwords to make it sound legit. And yet, even her tightest Hollywood friends seem to be stepping back. America Ferrera, who was initially one of her loudest supporters, quietly erased her supportive statements. When friends jump ship halfway through a scandal, you know it's serious. Meanwhile, Ryan's plan is becoming clearer. Publicly, he's mute, but in the background, he's making all the right moves. Legal coverage, brand separation, forward-looking strategy. This isn't about simply surviving the drama. It's about making sure it never touches him. Expect fewer public Ryan and Blake sightings. Expect him to zero in on his empire, reminding the world he's a business powerhouse first and a Hollywood husband second. And if this lawsuit keeps escalating, don't be shocked if we start hearing those classic amicable differences stories circulating in the press. Because at the end of the day, Hollywood isn't powered by fairy tale romances, it's powered by survival. Ryan Reynolds didn't build his empire on naive choices, he built it on shrewd moves. Right now, his smartest move is to steer clear of this wreck before it goes nuclear. Sure, Blake's PR machine is still chugging along, but the cracks are showing. Public isn't buying the donut stunt, the invisible smear campaign line is falling flat, and Ryan's already positioning his next play. Blake Lively is in full-on PR damage control, and let's just say it's not working. In what can only be described as one of the most awkward publicity ploys of the year, she decided the best way to make people forget her lawsuit was to jump behind a bakery counter and sling donuts. Obviously, because nothing says relatable like a multi-millionaire actress playing part-time donut queen. But guess what? Nobody fell for it. Instead of admiration for her work ethic or humility, the internet got busy calling it out for what it was, a desperate pivot from legal drama. People didn't focus on her dedication or her so-called sincerity. They zeroed in on the hairnet-free, glove-free PR stunt. Twitter had a field day. Blake Lively out here acting like a broke college kid while living in a $20 million wrote one user. Another chimed in, "If you think this isn't staged, I have a bridge to sell you." Verdict? Her attempt at everyday charm looked more like a botched influencer campaign than a genuine moment. And where was Ryan Reynolds in all of this? Nowhere. Not a single word. Not one witty Insta post. Not even a half-baked proud of my wife comment. Just radio silence. Silence. Coming from a man who can make anything go viral, that silence is deafening. Ryan's entire brand revolves around being effortlessly cool and self-aware. He knows that jumping into a cringe-worthy publicity move will only drag him down. And if Hollywood has taught us anything, it's that when celebrities start to look desperate, the smart ones start running fast. Now let's talk about the real reason Ryan might be over this fiasco, the lawsuit itself. Blake's entire case hinges on an undetectable smear campaign. Let's break that down. Undetectable, meaning no visible proof, no evidence, just speculation. It's like claiming you got into a fight with an invisible attacker who magically vanishes every time someone asks for actual receipts. Ryan Reynolds is a marketing pro. This is the guy who sold a gin brand purely through memes and wit. He knows a good narrative, and this is like trying to pitch a broken microwave by calling it mystically non-operational. No one's buying it, and Ryan is reportedly fed up with how weak this PR angle is. While Blake's side is pushing a fairy tale about a mysterious enemy out to ruin her, Ryan is likely somewhere rolling his eyes, wondering why they didn't at least come up with something halfway believable. Some say he's actually embarrassed by this train wreck. And who could blame him? He spent years polishing his public image, only to get dragged into what sounds like a subpar TV plot. Blake's PR tactics don't improve. Don't be shocked if Ryan starts making moves that don't involve her. Because if there's one thing Hollywood consistently proves, it's that self-preservation always wins. And right now, Ryan looks like someone quietly plotting his getaway. If you've searched Blake Lively recently, you might have noticed something odd. Instead of lawsuit updates or legal deep dives, you're getting walls of feel-good content that push any real news further down. That's not Hollywood PR trickery, nothing is. Let's not kid ourselves. Blake didn't randomly decide she needed to fry dough for a living. This is classic SEO manipulation. When celebs get into hot water, their teams spam the internet with fluffy stories to bury the real headlines under layers of nonsense. It's like tossing confetti on a crime scene so nobody notices the body. Suddenly, whenever you type Blake Lively, you see Blake Lively's joyful day at the donut shop and why Blake Lively's sweet bakery surprise is the must-see moment of the year. It's not clever. It's not slick. It's PR panic on a burning trash barge. And the fact that Blake's team thought it would work? Ryan's got to be dying inside. He spent years building a brand of effortless humor and razor-sharp strategy, and now he's stuck to this bumbling SEO smokescreen that even casual internet users can spot a mile away. Which brings us to the big question: what's Ryan's next move? If he openly speaks out, Blake's lawsuit could implode. His voice carries serious weight. He's one of Hollywood's most beloved figures, and if he publicly bails on Blake's narrative, it's a sign that even he thinks it's bogus. That could demolish any legal angle she has left. Think about it. The second Ryan publicly distances himself, the story flips. Suddenly, it's Blake Lively loses Ryan Reynolds' support amid lawsuit scandal. That's a headline that changes everything, and for a marketing genius like Ryan, that move is probably very tempting. And remember, if Ryan does walk away, it won't just be about protecting his image. Could be his biggest PR power play yet. Because if there's one thing Hollywood loves more than a scandal, it's a redemption arc. If Ryan plays his cards right, he can transform from silent onlooker to the smartest guy in the room overnight. While Blake's PR squad drowns the internet with donut shop fluff, Ryan can pivot his image with zero effort. So, is a breakup on the horizon? Is Ryan Reynolds about to orchestrate one of the most brilliantly executed PR separations in recent history? If things keep unraveling like this, don't be surprised if you wake up to headlines screaming, "Ryan Reynolds breaks silence, distances himself from Blake Lively's lawsuit madness." And if that happens, Blake's team will need a whole lot more than donut distractions to fix this train wreck. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni isn't pulling any punches, and trust me, he's gaining steam. His production company, Wayfarer Studios, is assembling support like a general preparing for battle. This is bigger than one lawsuit, it's turning into a Hollywood turf war. And where was Ryan Reynolds in all of this? Nowhere. Not a single word. Not one witty Insta post. Not even a half-baked proud of my wife comment. Just radio silence. Silence. Coming from a man who can make anything go viral, that silence is deafening. Ryan's entire brand revolves around being effortlessly cool and self-aware. He knows that jumping into a cringe-worthy publicity move will only drag him down. And if Hollywood has taught us anything, it's that when celebrities start to look desperate, the smart ones start running fast. Now let's talk about the real reason Ryan might be over this fiasco, the lawsuit itself. Blake's entire case hinges on an undetectable smear campaign. Let's break that down. Undetectable, meaning no visible proof, no evidence, just speculation. It's like claiming you got into a fight with an invisible attacker who magically vanishes every time someone asks for actual receipts. Ryan Reynolds is a marketing pro. This is the guy who sold a gin brand purely through memes and wit. He knows a good narrative, and this is like trying to pitch a broken microwave by calling it mystically non-operational. No one's buying it, and Ryan is reportedly fed up with how weak this PR angle is. While Blake's side is pushing a fairy tale about a mysterious enemy out to ruin her, Ryan is likely somewhere rolling his eyes, wondering why they didn't at least come up with something halfway believable. Some say he's actually embarrassed by this train wreck. And who could blame him? He spent years polishing his public image, only to get dragged into what sounds like a subpar TV plot. Blake's PR tactics don't improve. Don't be shocked if Ryan starts making moves that don't involve her. Because if there's one thing Hollywood consistently proves, it's that self-preservation always wins. And right now, Ryan looks like someone quietly plotting his getaway. If you've searched Blake Lively recently, you might have noticed something odd. Instead of lawsuit updates or legal deep dives, you're getting walls of feel-good content that push any real news further down. That's not Hollywood PR trickery, nothing is. Let's not kid ourselves. Blake didn't randomly decide she needed to fry dough for a living. This is classic SEO manipulation. When celebs get into hot water, their teams spam the internet with fluffy stories to bury the real headlines under layers of nonsense. It's like tossing confetti on a crime scene so nobody notices the body. Suddenly, whenever you type Blake Lively, you see Blake Lively's joyful day at the donut shop and why Blake Lively's sweet bakery surprise is the must-see moment of the year. And let's be honest, Baldoni has the upper hand right now. Hollywood eats up drama, but it's obsessed with whoever holds the real power. At this point, the balance of power appears to be shifting. Blake's team is looking outnumbered, and it's not just random trolls piling on. Influence is spreading, and insiders are picking sides. Let's just say Blake's team isn't exactly winning any popularity contests. Think high school prom, except it's multi-billion-dollar industries and career-defining alliances on the line. But here's where it gets super juicy. Ryan Reynolds' camp is watching from the sidelines like it's a Netflix binge. They're definitely not just letting this play out. They're analyzing every twist because this is about more than one lawsuit. It's about survival in an industry where brand power is everything. Blake turns into a liability, Ryan might be the first to jump ship. His empire isn't about messy scandals, it's about precise, calculated moves. Justin Baldoni ends up the more strategic option. Don't be shocked if Ryan does something that rocks Hollywood to its core. Now, let's address what's next. Buckle up, because the rumor mill says Ryan Reynolds could be on the brink of making the biggest business call of his career. He's notorious for clever, strategic decisions. And this is definitely a do-or-die moment. Will he publicly distance himself from Blake? Or is he waiting for the ideal moment to make his move? Hollywood adores a dramatic pause, so maybe Ryan's holding off until the dust settles. Then again, time is money, and every day this scandal lingers, the stakes soar. But let's not forget the possibility that Blake's lawsuit completely tanks. If her entire case collapses, if she can't maintain her story in the public eye, her career could face a massive setback. People are already noticing that the PR spin is way too obvious, and the public's tolerance for undetectable smear campaigns is wearing thin. Hollywood trades on image, and if Blake can't keep hers under control, she'll be climbing uphill for years to come. Meanwhile, Ryan faces his own challenges. He's one of the sharpest minds in Hollywood, and he's not about to get dragged down by this for too long. If I had to guess, he's already deep into an exit plan, whether that means quietly detaching himself or rolling out some public statement. Ryan is a master at orchestrating these moments, and he could leave everyone else in the dust. So here's the million-dollar question. Is Ryan Reynolds about to bail on Blake Lively to save his career, or is he quietly backing her the whole time? Trust me, he's not the type to just sit around and let the chips fall. He's Ryan Reynolds, after all. He's always 3 moves ahead. And if you want to stay tuned for every twist in this Hollywood storm, like this video and subscribe to the channel. This story is far from over.